Okay, so let's see how do we use ChatGPT for creating effective prompts. Okay, so this is a Jupyter notebook where we'll be writing some code and installing OpenAI API. So I got this from one of the courses, which I'll tell you by the end of this lecture or this video. So firstly, you have to do the setup. Okay, so if you're working for the first time and installing Open API is the first thing that you need to do. So you'll have to write exclamation mark pip install Open API. So it will collect all the packages and will return it to you. Okay. So this is what you have to do the firstly before getting started with Open API or ChatGPT. Okay. So now another thing that I discovered was I got this code. I'll tell you from where. So you have to import Open API, the library, and again open import OS, okay, so that you can work with the queries of OpenAI, whatever the commands are, and you can use it in Python effectively. So now what I'm doing is from dot environment, okay, env import load dot environment find dot environment. Now Python has not found dot environment. So for that, what you have to do, there's another error. So for that, you have to install this Python dot environment. Okay. Once you have installed this code would run again. Okay. So now we are ready to use this code and we have imported the efficient libraries. But I have still not got the Open API key. Okay. Now, for this, where you have to go is I will provide this link, and once you would open this link, it will direct you to a website, the site wherein you can get your key. So I already created my key. This was my first key. So I named it as my first key, and then you can just copy this, okay, and you will paste it here in this dialog box or in this cell. Open API underscore key, and then in this bracket you will paste your key. When you will run this, that means now you are ready to use whatever functionality this API has, okay, and you can start using it. So to use this, we will create a helper function which is get completion, and we are using the ChatGPT 3.5 turbo model, okay, and what I'm doing is in this I'll create messages, and this is in the form of a dictionary, role, the role and content. These are the keys, and the value is user and prompt. And in response, you would have this open API dot chat completion dot create another function or another method I will create. In that, it will store model and messages. Temperature is 0. Temperature means the randomness. That means every time I run this code, I will get the same responses. It will not change. So if you want randomness in your code or in your responses, then you can change it to 1 or 0.7 or vary this. Okay. So I will return this in response or choices and message content, right? So let's see how do we use this, definition, or I will say this function in generating responses. So there are two principles that has been taught by Andrew Nagy. He says that the principle first is that you have to write clear and specific instructions, and the second principle is that you have to give the model time to think. Okay, so how do you really use this in practice and create good codes or good responses? So they're using a technique here that they're using delimiters to clarify, to clearly indicate that distinct part of the input, and this gives clarity to your code. As a developer, you can gain more control over it. So delimiters can be, either the colons or commas or these greater than equal to sign, less than sign, and these three quotes or double quotes. Okay, so I just we'll take one example simply and see how do we define it. Okay, so in the prompt, how do we use it? Prompt equals to f, okay, and then I'm using these delimiter so that it can understand the technique what I'm using. Okay, and I describe that your task is to answer in a consistent style. What is that? Now I'm defining, I'm giving it a sample. Child says, teach me about resilience. And grandparent says that resilience is like a tree that bends with wind but never breaks. That dot and then slash. So that means it's a separator. It is the ability to bounce back from adversity and keep moving forward, even when things get tough, right? Just like a tree that grows stronger with each storm it weathers, resilience is a quality that can be developed and strengthened over time. Now, this is the response that I had given so that I can train this model. Okay, and the child says then, teach me about spirituality. Okay, now the child wants to know about spirituality, so let's see what response does your prompt gives. Okay, so response, now let's call this function equals to get completion and then prompt, and now I'm printing the response. So now the response that we got is, spirituality is the belief in something greater than oneself. It is the connection to a higher power or purpose that gives meaning and direction to our lives. It can be expressed through religion, meditation, or simply deep appreciation for the beauty and wonder of the world around us. Spirituality can bring a sense of peace, purpose, and fulfillment to our lives, and can help us navigate the challenges and uncertainties that we all face. So now this is a very apt, and I think this is written uh, by a person who really experiences spirituality and is into meditation. And as I am into meditation, so I can feel that yes, this is a good answer to what I have asked, that teach me about spirituality. Okay, so now you can refine it and you can also ask further questions for this. So let's see how do we do that. Suppose I write another prompt, and the prompt is that I define this prompt. Now, suppose the task is to answer in 1,000 words, listing down the studies and authors. Also, mention how it is related to spirituality. So, now I wanted to understand how quantum physics is related to spirituality. So, I wrote a prompt student. Again, I trained this with the same thing. Student says, teach me about resilience, and teacher give this response. Now student says, teach me about quantum physics. Okay. So now student says, teach me about quantum physics, but the prompt has to give the answer that all the studies and authors it has to list, and it also has to mention how quantum physics is linked with spirituality. Okay, I think this is clear. So now I again call that function response get completion prompt and then print the response. The response that I get is, although this is not in 1,000 words, but this is sufficiently like more than 500 or so words, I guess, or maybe 250 or so. Okay, so it says that quantum physics is a branch of physics that deals with the behavior of matter and energy at a very small scale, such as atoms and subatomic particles, and it is a relatively new field to study that has revolutionized or our understanding of the universe. Now it says that one of the key principle is entanglement, which suggests that the particles can become connected in such a way that the state of one can affect the state of another, even if they're separated by great distances. Now, I want to establish a link between this and spirituality. Now, I asked for some studies. Now, this has given me the principles, uncertainty principles, and concept of entanglement. Along with these studies, you can see these studies, like one study was conducted by Dr. Amit Goswami, and who was he? And the book is The Self-Aware Universe. So I can further dig down deep into this, and then in this research, he says that the idea that consciousness plays a fundamental role in the universe and that the observer has a direct impact on the observed. So you can study more about this by writing, the summary of the self-aware universe book, and it can give you that response. Now, another study by Dr. Dean Radin, and then what he found by scientific experiments. So then it concludes also that it has opened new avenues for exploring relationship between science and spirituality, and has challenged our traditional understanding of the universe. So I was a little bit interested about spirituality and quantum physics because they are somehow related. So I asked, what is the response that I get? So being a developer, you can create certain, chatbots which are refined and trained by using these large language models. So now coming to where do you get these codes and how do you use it effectively? So there's an deep learning.ai. I would say this. I'll provide this link in the description. The link of this website. It's not this ChatGPT course is an collaboration with OpenAI and Andrew Deep Learning. So they have created this course, and you can learn this course for free, and you can enroll this for free, and you can get how do you really use ChatGPT for your own development if you are into development, and create your own new products. You can try new things, refine the codes, and so on. So it is asking you to sign in and so on, so that you can get enrolled. So once you do this, you can start learning the course. It's just 1 hour course, and you can just finish it in a day, not much. So this is how you will use it And this is what prompt engineering is. Okay, I have also created one very basic video on ChatGPT, so you can just see that video. And we use ChatGPT. Okay, so and we can refine our searches using ChatGPT, such responses that your task is so and so, to answer in a consistent style, or to answer in such a way that an experienced person would answer or a scientist would answer. And so it will give you responses as such. So if you want to use ChatGPT, it is here. You can just write ChatGPT and it will give you the software, and you can try ChatGPT. So this is what you get here. So I can, let's see, your task is to answer in a consistent style. Let me just try this. Okay, and teach about resilience. Okay, let's see. So now you can see the it is giving me all these things, that it is ability to bounce back adversity, stressors, and so on. And there are several ways to build resilience. Quite a long and exhaustive answer it is giving. So it is trained very well, right? And so I'm telling it to teach resilience. Then I can also say that give an example, to simplify the concept of, suppose uncertainty. Yeah. So it is, since it is very vague, what type of uncertainty, whether I'm talking about physics or whether I'm talking about quantum physics, I have not specified. So it is just giving me a very simple and plain, suppose example here, that you're playing on an outdoor picnic with your friends and so on. So, and you are not sure of anything. One day it's going to be sunny or warm, the next day it's going to rain. So that is uncertainty. So you have to be very specific with your responses. Okay, so you can refine it by using a different prompt. And in physics, suppose in physics, and state the studies by authors. So let's see what it gives. So you can yourself create something like that if you are into a development field. So this is an uncertainty principle. So the keyword was uncertainty principle, and it is, and you know that it is impossible to measure both the position and velocity at the same time, with absolute precision. And I think it should give me, okay, yes, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. It has given me, that's what I wanted, and it has also given me notable authors who have also studied here: Neil Bohr, Schrodinger's, and Richard Feynman, right? So, yes, it's quite appropriate, and I can again refine what these authors have really said about uncertainty if I want to dig down deep into that, right? So, you can, this is how you can, use prompt engineering to refine your responses and use it for generating smart answers, right? I hope this was helpful, and do like, please like and comment. And if you have got something new, you can share with us, because everybody is here to learn with each other, from each other. Okay, so yeah, I'll provide the link and whatever resources I have, so that you can continue your learning for free. Okay, thank you.